You may have figured out that I am not Gretchen Hooker, a colleague of mine, standing in her place today. I work for an organization called the Biomimicry 3.8 Institute. We're kind of a thought leader in an area called biomimicry, which is the accessing of technologies and processes directly in nature and the modeling of human technologies and designs directly on those natural processes. So the question that was posed as the title of this talk is, how does nature make it? This guy is the obvious answer. Anybody know the Alaskan Darkling beetle? So the thing about nature is that it has these extraordinary capacities. It used to be believed that nature couldn't really survive any living organism below about -20 Celsius. Recently it's been discovered that goes quite a bit further. This guy, he can stay comfy to about -76 Fahrenheit. Anybody have any idea how he does it? That's right. His cells can make their own on-demand antifreeze, flood his body with it, and thus not turn into ice. Pretty cool. Not a bad capacity to have. But double or nothing if you didn't do well on that. The first one, the larvae of the red flat bark beetle, he is comfy to a -150 degrees Fahrenheit. In other words, double the other guy. And these are just newborn babies. Again, anyone have any idea how -150 life survives that? If it's crazier than making your own antifreeze. This guy can supercool all the bodily fluids in his body until they become glass. He can turn into a glass beetle for an indefinite length of time, and then unglass himself, believe it or not. And somehow the organismic intelligence that's built into this organism tells him over many, billions of years of trial and error that he is actually better off having his cells turn to glass, just as they're better off being flooded with antifreeze than they are being frozen by good old H2O. Pretty amazing. But that's not all, as the Cat in the Hat would say, but that is not all, but that is not all. This guy, I don't think I can fully pronounce it, but Colwellia psychoerythrea, strain 34H, my personal favorite, is actually able to make it comfy to 196 Celsius, another 320 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit. This is the temperature of liquid nitrogen. Anyone know how he does it? He or she, they're not gendered, but I don't either. Nobody does. This is a recent discovery. But this is the point, is that life has these capacities that are more like what these guys have than the way we usually think about biology. And it's not just temperature. It's not just extreme temperatures. But in fact, extreme high temperatures, pressure, there's a bacteria that thrives on the core of thermonuclear reactors. Biology has quite a few tricks up its sleeve, and we've yet to begun to access most of them. So how does nature do it? Right? That's the main question. And the answer I'm going to try to sell you today, being that we're at the Maker Faire, is that nature makes like makers make. And I think it's a loose analogy to some degree, but I think there's quite a good case to be made for it as well. The maker movement is known for things like rapid prototyping, open collaboration, source code access, either actual source code or the basic primary work, and community repositories that support all that collaborative activity. Well, that is really pretty much how nature works as well. Evolution is by iteration, by constant trial and error, repetition, repetition, repetition. It's fairly rapid if you think about it in geological timescale. Punctuated equilibrium is a term some people may have heard. There's constant coevolution and symbiosis at a scale that has not fully been even appreciated by mainstream biology yet. DNA is obviously a universal. It's a sort of source code. It's not entirely open, but it's being made open by life itself. And it also relies on DNA as this sort of repository of different organismic design solutions. So there's this real similarity, which is the point at the talk at which we arrive at these very cute alien octopus cats, if anyone recognizes them. This is the Octocat of GitHub, if anybody knows the sort of platform for collaborating and sharing code. So I'm going to also tell you that nature is somewhat like GitHub. It's this open source platform. In other words, nature is an open source repository of advanced technology. Just sitting there, ready to be mimicked, not easily, not readily. And that's one of the things that my organization works on, is moving that to a point where people like this community can step up and take a piece out of what's been discovered so far and repurpose that piece, as is the art here. So I'm sort of making this analogy of, like, there's, communities. There's a community of coders, and they have this platform of collaboration called GitHub or SourceForge or many others. And here we are today. There's a community of makers. And through Maker Faire and Make Magazine and the website and so forth, there's this platform and repository of solutions that are openly traded. And what I'm telling you is that this is the same situation with the community of all life. And in fact, my organization has built something called Ask Nature. Unfortunately, we don't have a cute little kingfisher as our icon to go along with this. I wish we did. But so Ask Nature, I invite all of you to go and check it out. There's about 1,800 different solutions in there today. So what that means is some sort of thing that nature is doing, and that humans have mimicked in some way or have ideas of how to mimic and deploy as a technology. So as it says here, Ask Nature provides curated biological solutions matched with their technological applications to drive innovation for the people who make the world. And I assume that's all of you. So I invite you to come take a look at it. And we really have a mission, because these solutions that nature has are often quite advanced and certainly grown, not engineered over time, and they tend to have a very low impact on the biosphere, which is something we desperately need to get better at right now. And the exciting news that I'll share with you about our Ask Nature project is the thing about biology is that people hear a lot about the DNA and the proteomics part, sort of the very quantitative part of molecular biology. But the vast majority of biology is ink on a page or electrons in space now. But and the problem is it not only all text, and there's an enormous amount of it, but at the same time it's also what they call very orthogonal. In other words, when one biologist background and speak the same language describes a frog laying an egg, they don't use the same words. Sometimes they'll use formal terminologies. There's multiple terminologies. So this language of biology has this orthogonality to it that makes it very hard as a data problem for computers to actually do something with this part of biology. But recently, we started collaborating, and through technologies like advanced semantic search, and through machine learning, and through things like natural language processing, inference chaining, and this whole sort of area of cognitive computing and artificial intelligence, we've begun the early stages of a partnership with one of the most advanced technologies doing these things in the world. In other words, our keyword search repository that's been faithfully curated and built up over 6 years, that now has 1,800 solutions. We believe it may well be the case that basically every organism has 1,800 amazing things going on with them, and there's 9 million organisms in the biosphere. We don't know, but what we do know indicates that we've yet begun to tap what this really is. And so we believe we're on this precipice in using these new technologies, to move to having hundreds of thousands of solutions for people to work with in this toolkit kind of fashion over our platform. And this is cognitive computing. So, the armadillo. does he have 20 amazing things that we could transform society and civilization with, or is it hundreds, or is it 1,000? We don't know. Same for this organism or any of these organisms that we share this planet with. Every single one of them has a remarkable capacity that it's evolved through millennia, millions of years of adaptation, or billions of years. And our goal is really to begin the process of unlocking this treasure trove of very advanced technology and making it available in an open way so that it can be utilized by the community and repurposed and reused, etc. So that's what I have. Thanks very much. You're welcome to come to our website, Ask Nature, at asknature.org, which is the solutions library, or you can also just find us on the web at biomimicry.net, the Biomimicry 3.8 Institute. And if we still have time, if anybody has any questions, I'm not sure if there's a system for questions, but if anybody does, I'd be happy to answer some. So. A case of an example when? Sure, sure. The first thing probably to say there, the question is, can you give us an example, thank you, of something that's on the site that has led to an application, right? So probably the first thing to say is that it's very early in this process of translation. So there actually aren't that many, examples that have gone up on our site and then become something more promising, become a product, etc. But there are some. I mean, the obvious one in history for biomimicry is Velcro, which was directly from the guy going out on a walk and discovering cockleburs on his dog and putting that under a microscope. That didn't happen on our website. But there is a company called NBD Nano that is working on a new water bottle that's based on the Namib desert beetle. And the guy who found this out was actually in one of our design competitions, so he learned about it through the site. And he now has a prototype of a water bottle that fills up 2 liters every hour on its own. It can absorb water out of the air, which is what a Namib beetle can do. It's a self-filling water bottle. So yeah, that's why I say we're on the threshold of something where there isn't yet this sort of robust platform. But things like that, it's a leapfrog type of technology. It's a breakthrough where, it doesn't really matter if you now have a better top on your water bottle, or that's going to be the water bottle from then on. So, other questions? If we have a few more minutes. If not, I'll go ahead and wrap up. It seems like there may not be any more. All right, so thanks everybody very much, and I hope you will explore biomimicry more. Thanks very much.